there, folks. I'm here with my good friend Craig. Hello, Craig.
Hi, Professor.
And we're at Flinders University. So, what have you got to show us today?
We have some bones. I will start.
Excuse me. Bones.
Bones, yes. sorry.
Bones.
Bones.
Where I come from, it's bones. Got it? Okay, what have you got?
Well, first, we've got a radius that I had pieced back together a while ago. Nothing too fancy. It wasn't that too shattered.
So when you say you pieced it back together...
Yes, it came in fragments. So out in the field, fossils aren't perfect. Most of the time they're broken. Sometimes there's an accident. Some of the tools might break them as they're digging. And a lot of the times you have these fragments, these shards of bones. And you can't necessarily see the whole piece until you start putting them back together. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just thinking, so it's like you're having a jigsaw puzzle with most of the pieces missing, but with pieces from somebody else's jigsaw puzzle
Yes.
mixed in as well, because you've got to work out, because these here and this one here are not nicely aligned in a, like, it's like, right, that's where that area is, and that they can be scattered around.
Yep.
After the animals die, the bone gets broken and smashed. I mean, you said that they sometimes, paleontologists have accidents where they drop things. We've all done that.
I've done that.
Haven't we? Yeah, well, look, I dropped a Permian fossil.
Oh, wow.
270 million years it had survived until Professor Flint came along and was like, oh. Luckily, there's some special paleontology glue.
Yes, goop.
Goop. So, okay, so you've got the radius there.
Here's the ulna. This is a good example of imperfection.
Now, radius and ulna, they're part of...
They're part of your forearm. So the radius is... Oh, no, the radius is on the inside and the ulna is on the outside. So the ulna is basically your elbow bone, which is here, and there's that joint.
Mm-hmm.
So that... Well, that's on the left side. So that would have sat like that, and the radius would have set kind of in the where it can join like that. And that's the two bones in your forearm.
Fantastic.
And back to this one, the ulna, there's a piece missing here, so I can't piece this back. It doesn't go in any order. So there's a piece missing, and I think it would go that way.
Right, but you can kind of roughly tell that that's probably from this, can't you?
Yes.
Because there would be marks, identifying marks on here that follow through onto that?
Yes, so you look at the inside and you can sort of see the shape of that hole and just the thickness of that bone, and it looks about the same with that, and that's the end. So it's going to get a bit smaller as it goes further down, but you can tell that there's actually a piece that's supposed to sit in between those, and it's got lost in the sediment or who knows, so that's as far as that one can go. Now you can get lucky, like this gorgeous piece, and this was in many, many pieces. Diana was saying that it's impossible, nobody's going to get this back together again.
And you looked at her and you said,
challenge accepted.
watch me, I'll do this.
So yes, this was just in shards. The only whole piece was just the cap at the end. So piece by piece, I think I started around the middle here. And there's several pieces that make up this middle piece. And I slowly pieced one bit onto another, and then I was able to get a spatial shape that I could recognize. I was like, oh, this piece must go over here, and then...
And like when you do it doing an actual jigsaw puzzle, and you're getting a piece and you separate them out into the green bit and the yellow bit or the whatever it is, and then you start to see, and you start to see the shape of the thing.
Yep.
Appear in front of you, and it gets easier, I suppose.
Yes, it gets easier the more you build it.
The more bits of that puzzle that are added together. And interestingly, there's a little bit missing there, isn't there?
Yes, there's a little piece missing, but because the other bits lined up perfectly, so like looking at the fractures, that's what's guiding me. So there's this big crack right down the middle here that was able to help me line up these two halves, because that crack lines up there, even though it splits into another one. Then I could line this line with this other section, and was able to figure out that, because these were split into two pieces, well, several in some places. But yeah, you just follow the lines, but you have other places like, see this sort of dip, this curve, the way that's shaped. Looking at the other end, it's more round and that's more flat. So if I had a piece from there and a piece from there, you'd be able to figure out that, oh, this belongs over this end, this one over this end. But yeah, this is one of the best repair jobs I've done by far.
Yes, well, my car's got some dents in it. Perhaps I can get you to look at that as well.
Yeah, I am knowledgeable with a bit of mechanical stuff.
Fantastic. Okay, so the big question, of course, is what animal is it?
Oh, well, these are two different animals. So the first one, let's have a go at this species name. This is a Protemnodon, which is a giant real big boy. So he is Protemnodon brehis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
It sounds nice and Scottish, so that's good. Brehis.
He's extinct. He's no longer hopping around. Whereas this fella here, this is Ospharantus robustus. Was recently Macropus robustus, but they've been reclassified as Ospharantus. He's extant. I think this is about 60 to 80,000 years old. But these are Euro wallaroos.
Euros, okay,
Yep.
yes, because I think robustus, yes. So those and Euros are really interesting because you have the rock wallabies which live high up, and you have the reds and the greys which live on the flatlands, and the robustus that live they live in the between lands, don't they?
Yeah, and then you have the extreme tree kangaroos. Really weird.
Yeah, they're just weird.
Uh,
Okay, so what happens next with specimens like this? So you've put them together and then you just put them in the cupboard and that's the end of it, really.
Yeah, well, they get archived, especially something good like this. So 100 years down the track, a bunch of new students in, they would have access to the archive. If there's nothing better than this specimen, they will probably be using this exact specimen here to study.
And watching this video
Probably,
to see
hopefully.
the very person who glued it back together. Hello, people in 100 years.
We'll be future fossils by then.
Yes. And then, because there are some really interesting examples too of people, paleontologists or scientists who have gone back through a cupboard or a drawer, an archival drawer, years later,
Yes.
and looked at something and gone, oh,
It's like...
we thought that was that, but it's actually, it's something else.
Yeah, one of the PhDs, Alan Schultz, discovered a new species of parrot in some of the bones and named it Heracles inexpectatus, which was really cool.
Unexpected, so I didn't
Yeah.
expect it.
Yes.
This is how you name things. But that is that thing, isn't it? It might be that people come back in years to come and look at this and go, actually, this gives us an insight into things that we didn't have.
Yep.
Thank you so much for showing us your work in terms of putting this together and giving us an understanding of these two particular animals and your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Very welcome.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.